Welcome to the Methodcast, where we break down the illusions that keep people stuck in habits they never really chose. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest myths out there, the idea that casual porn use is possible. A lot of people think they can manage it. They believe they're not really addicted because they only watch sometimes. They tell themselves, I don't watch every day, so it's not a problem. Or I can stop whenever I want. I just don't want to right now. They see their habit as something they can take or leave. Something harmless, something that doesn't have power over them. But here's the truth. There's no such thing as casual porn use, because addiction doesn't happen all at once. It's not a sudden, obvious thing like falling into a hole. It's more like walking down a slope so gradually that you don't even notice you're getting deeper and deeper, until it's too late. And that's exactly how porn keeps people trapped in a prison they don't even see. Let's start with the dependency problem. Most people assume that addiction means extreme, uncontrollable cravings. They picture someone who watches porn for hours every day, someone who can't function without it. And because they don't fit that stereotype, they assume they're fine. But dependency isn't about how often you watch. It's about whether or not you feel the need to. If you ever find yourself thinking about watching, if you ever feel an urge when you're bored, stressed, or lonely, if you've ever told yourself just this once, or just a little, that's dependency. Because here's the reality. If you were truly free, you wouldn't have to negotiate with yourself. You wouldn't even think about porn at all. That's the difference between someone who's actually free and someone who's trapped but doesn't realize it. And this is why casual use is impossible, because even if you only watch once in a while, even if you go days or weeks without it, you're still keeping the addiction alive. You're still feeding it, keeping the mental pathway open, keeping the habit in your life. And over time, it grows, it gets stronger, it pulls you back in. Think about it like a fire. If you throw a huge log on, the fire blazes high, but if you only throw small twigs every now and then, it doesn't go out. It keeps smoldering, waiting for the moment when it gets enough fuel to flare up again. That's how porn dependency works. Now let's talk about the prison effect, because here's the real danger. Most people who are addicted don't even know they're addicted. When someone gets hooked on cigarettes or alcohol, there are clear signs. They start needing more and more. Their body physically craves it, their life noticeably changes. But with porn, it's subtle. It works on a deeper level, rewiring the brain, shaping behavior, creating patterns that are so normalized that people don't even question them. And that's how it keeps you locked in a prison without bars, a prison where you don't even realize you're being controlled, where you think I'm in charge. I can stop if I want to. But the moment you try, the cravings hit, the justifications start. And before you know it, you're right back where you started. And this is where triggers come in. Because porn addiction isn't just about the moments when you watch. It's about how your brain gets trained to seek stimulation. Most people assume that if they're not watching, they're not feeding the habit. But that's not how it works. The addiction thrives on triggers, tiny moments that keep your brain in the same cycle. Scrolling through Instagram, watching certain scenes in movies, seeing a suggestive ad, even just feeling bored or stressed, these moments wake up the addiction. They remind your brain, hey, remember that rush of dopamine? Remember how easy it was to escape? And suddenly, a random thought pops into your head. Maybe just a little, just a peek. It won't hurt. And that's where the cycle starts again. Because casual use isn't just about watching porn, it's about keeping your brain wired for addiction. Every time you engage with triggers, every time you let your mind wander back to sexual content, you strengthen the habit. You make it harder to break free. And here's where things get even trickier. The longer you stay in the cycle, the harder it is to recognize it. Because over time, porn changes your perception. It doesn't just keep you addicted, it rewires how you see the world. It makes you more likely to objectify people, to seek out instant gratification, to feel less satisfied with real relationships. And this is why so many people who try to quit struggle. Not because they don't want to quit, but because their brain still sees porn as something valuable. That's what keeps people stuck. That's why so many fail, because they still believe in the illusion of pleasure. And that's exactly what Easy Peasy exposes. It doesn't just tell you to quit, it removes the desire completely. Because once you see porn for what it really is, not pleasure, not relief, just an artificial cycle that keeps you craving more, you don't need willpower. You don't have to fight urges, you just stop wanting it. Think about it like this. Imagine you used to believe in Santa Claus. When you were a kid, it was real. You were excited for Christmas morning. But once you found out the truth, did you have to resist believing in Santa? Did you have to fight the urge to leave cookies out? Number, you just knew it wasn't real anymore. And that's what happens when you remove the illusion of porn. And when you stop thinking of it as something you enjoy but have to quit, when you stop believing it's a source of pleasure, it loses all its power. And suddenly, you're free. No cravings, no struggle, just clarity. So if you've been telling yourself that you can be a casual user, ask yourself, why do I need to justify this? Because someone who is truly free doesn't have to make excuses. They don't think about porn at all. And that's what real freedom feels like. No struggle, no guilt, no negotiating with yourself. Just the peace of knowing you've escaped the trap completely. And once you get there, you'll look back and wonder why you ever thought you needed it in the first place. That's it for today's episode of the Methodcast. If this resonated with you, don't just think about it. Act on it. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, send it their way. Because sometimes the only thing standing between someone and freedom is a shift in perspective. Spread the word, my friends. Share this podcast on forums, give the Easy Peasy Method a shout out on your socials, and tell your buddies about it. Together, we can help anyone still stuck in the porn trap break free and start living their best lives.